Welcome to Mobil1 The Grid. Coming up today, we talk to Porsche's #1 team and meet Ferrari's former F1 ace Giancarlo Fisichella. We get the wheels turning on today's Mobil1 The Grid with Porsche's LMP1 world champion teammates. In 2014, Porsche returned to the top flight of endurance racing with 6 factory drivers and 2 919 hybrid racers. In only their second season, the team won the World Endurance Manufacturers title, and Mark Webber, Brendan Hartley and Timo Bernhard became World Drivers Champions.
Already in 2014, when we started to grow together, and when it was clear that we're going to be, the driver trio for one of the cars, I already felt that there was some special link between us drivers, between Brendan, Mark and myself.
In the beginning, obviously we got on, but that relationship and the trust and the feeling that you get as real teammates doesn't happen overnight. So obviously we're going to carry forward from last year what we had, and it's something quite special when you have that real trust and faith in your teammates.
Between the three of us, we all bring different components, obviously. Timo's a very, very experienced guy when it comes to endurance racing. He's very knowledgeable on that. Brendan, obviously very fast, very young, very hungry to keep pushing the boundaries on that sense. And obviously I have maybe a softer overview on everything to maybe pull the jigsaw together sometimes, and that's why I think we're a really good team, and we're very experienced at pulling the weekends together.
It was a meteoric rise for the 3 drivers, and for Mark Webber it proved a natural progression to share a car with 2 teammates after 12 years in the singular world of Formula 1.
I'm really enjoying having the teammates in Brendan and Timo, because we have to find a way to work together in a very, very close fashion to get the maximum performance out of the car. Formula 1's a lot more individual, but now I don't want to do Formula 1, I want to do sports cars, so I'm very, very fortunate to do both at the right periods of my career.
The bond between the championship trio grew quickly in the team environment of endurance racing, where you need nerves of steel, 100% focus and complete trust in your teammates.
In long-distance racing, endurance racing is a bit different, because you're not driving all the time your car, because you have to share the car, but even though you're not in the car, you're still following, you still have some tension, and you want to know what's going to happen, but I fully trust my 2 teammates, and it's a bit like I'm driving myself. I think it's a different camaraderie that you need to have in endurance racing, but at the same time everybody has to do his job 100%, otherwise you cannot get the end result, the best result we want. Depends when you get in the car what role you've got to do, obviously, so that can change depending on the race and the scenario, so there can be a little bit more tension in the situation, but in general I have a lot of experience. I trust myself, I certainly trust my teammates, which collectively as a team we know we're doing our best, so the nerves are relatively calm these days. I don't have a huge amount more to prove to myself. I enjoy the driving, and that's the most important thing.
I get a little bit nervous before I drive. I think that's normal, it's natural. I think any sports person or anyone who's competed will understand a little bit of butterflies in the stomach, and I think with more experience it gets less, and you use it to your advantage. You kind of harness that nervous energy, I would say. I'm very comfortable when Timo and Mark are in the car, I have to say, so I hope that they say the same about me.
At the season opener, Hartley made a rare mistake as he overtook a GTE and Porsche, showing just how small the margins are in endurance racing. But that won't dampen ambitions to defend their driver's title and continue to develop an almost perfect partnership.
We learned a lot about each other in terms of driving style, how we work together, cockpit environment, all those type of things. Now we're getting to the last few percent, which we have to do to extract even more performance out of ourselves as a team and with the car. So 2014 we've come a long way. #1, there was a goal last year to achieve that, and then we won the World Championship. So now we got the #1 going into 2016 WEC season, and now we want to keep it for 17. That's definitely the goal.
So let's head straight to Belgium now to see how Bernhard, Webber and Hartley got on at round 2 of the World Endurance Championship, the 6 hours of Spa.
The 2 Porsches locked out the front row, and we're racing at Spa. Down to the source for the first time. The Audis are challenging, but it's going to be Porsche 1-2 in the early stages.
Brendan Hartley led until the first round of pit stops when the number 5 Toyota team, after double stinting their tyres, got Sebastian Buemi ahead of the Porsche. A big battle ensued as Timo Bernhard fought to retake the top spot, but then...
It's a puncture for the number 1 Porsche. The world champions are in trouble.
The number 8 Audi blew by the stricken Porsche to move into second. Later, the number 1 team suffered another puncture, but with Mark Webber at the wheel. This time it was more serious as the 919 needed a new front gearbox, costing 90 minutes. With less than 2 hours to go, there was also disaster for the leading Toyota when Kazuki Nakajima found smoke pouring out of the TSO50.
I don't believe it! The leader has lost the engine!
The number 8 Audi inherited a lead which they'd never relinquish. The number 2 Porsche, despite suffering a lack of hybrid power throughout the race, was set for the runner-up spot. And with so many problems for the factory LMP1s, including the number 7 Audi tangling with an LMP2 car late on, the privateer rebellions would finish in 3rd and 4th, as they had at the season opener. But the 6 hours of Spa belonged to the number 8 Audi.
It's a first WEC win for Luca Tagrassi and Ollie Jarvis, who brings the car home for Audi.
Porsche's consolation is that they lead in both the drivers' and manufacturers' standings. Next up, double points. It's the big one, the Le Mans 24 Hours. We head to Italy now to find out what tyre manufacturers Pirelli learn when they go racing.
Founded in 1872, Pirelli's story in motorsport has been closely linked to its industrial history from the very beginning, playing a key role in the evolution of not just racing, but the cars we drive today. The timeline of tyre innovation for this manufacturing giant has seen Pirelli flying the Italian flag at the forefront of motorsport technology.
Pirelli is 140 years working on tyres. Already in 1907 was involved in racing, in motorsport. And so these have been a sort of DNA inside the company that grew up with always a great attention to motorsport. Through the history, British, German and Italian was the great technology on automotive to have Alfa Romeo or Ferrari or Maserati really making a partnership in order to have our technology challenging the British that was dominating this field.
Pirelli supports over 250 motor racing championships around the world and creates 175 new tyre designs each year. Its 6 R&D centres and 5 factories pump out over 500,000 competition tyres and 1.3 million road tyres.
We are 400 good friends working on innovation. Prestige and premium are our niche of market on which we specialize. We are not really playing the game into the commodity arena. We are involved in car and motorcycle as main activities. Some are as a single supplier, some are in open competition on which we challenge every weekend single seat or GT or rally or motocross. These activities make Pirelli in motorsport close to our customer.
Pirelli has been the sole tyre supplier to the Formula 1 World Championship since 2010. The constant challenge is to satisfy teams, drivers, and most importantly a fan base desperate to see exciting wheel-to-wheel racing.
The role of Pirelli right now in Formula 1 is to provide a safe product that we can race, we can push the tire, we can see some overtaking maneuvers, we can see some different strategies, maybe some cars going for 3 stops, some cars going for 2, for 1, and mix a little bit the grid and see some nice races.
Formula 1 is the show, is the most important and effective and difficult, let me say, championship on which we challenge our technology, on which we have to develop a single tire that have to be fixed more or less in October, have to fit all the cars, have to enjoy all the drivers, and he has to perform in all the circuit, in any temperature, from the cold Russian Grand Prix to the hottest in the Arabian condition.
As with most motorsport programs, the technology crossover into the commercial side of the business is the reason Pirelli go racing. Employees get to test their skills in both competition and consumer tyre development.
The people that work for motorsport, after a certain number of years, are moved to the standard, and from the standard they move to motorsport. What we know and what we learn from motorsport are something that cross over very often. We want challenge, so we don't live without challenge very often. When the challenges are not arriving to Pirelli, Pirelli is looking for challenge itself.
After the break, we talk race management in the NASCAR Sprint Cup and join rally star Mikko Hirvonen in the desert. Welcome back to Mobil1 The Grid. NASCAR knowledge now as we find out about race management from SHR's Danica Patrick and Kevin Harvick. As technology evolves, Sprint Cup cars are becoming more and more complex, requiring up to 30 team members to support a single car. During a race, the team manager, engineers, crew chief and driver combine, making quick decisions in search of a crucial advantage.
I think Harvick got it by a fraction of an inch.
And in NASCAR, the smallest advantage can make all the difference.
I think a lot of that just comes with the communication with your crew chief and engineers from the driver's seat. You know, they have a lot of tools and people that are going through all the data and trying to make things better on a pretty much minute-by-minute basis, whether it be in the simulation program or just the feedback from me to the crew chief and what direction you send those guys down to try to work on what needs to be better in the car, the handling-wise, to try to make the car run faster.
There's two main leaders in the team, and that's the driver and the crew chief. The crew chief spends the most time with the crew, so that's an enormous role. It's a very important role, and you know, that's why you see so much shuffling that ends up happening within teams, just because you're trying to create that perfect synergy within the crew chief to the crew and then to the driver.
Across the different types of race circuit, team communication is key as they make adjustments based on predictive computer simulations as well as the driver's own feedback.
Well, oval track racing is a little bit different than road racing just because you can change your line on the racetrack. You can move up the racetrack, you can move down the racetrack. There's a lot of things from the driver's seat that you can do to try to get more out of your car during a particular fuel run when it's not handling correct.
Hold your line, hold your line. Couple more here. 6 more, Kevin, then a hole.
I think from racing in every series is a lot to do with the communication from the driver in the seat to the crew chief and how the crew chief relays all that information to the engineers so that they can go in the simulation programs and try to make the best adjustments that you can during the pit stops.
On pit road, crews can change tyres, tweak suspension setups and frequently repair broken or bent body panels. The changes the driver makes in the cockpit are more limited.
We had almost no adjustments before last year, having a brake bias, I think was about it. Now we have a track bar adjuster in the car, so we can adjust that for pit stops, for restarts, for old tires, new tires, track changing conditions.
We can run the track bar up and down on the right side to put more rake in or out of the car. You put more rake in it, usually it makes the car looser in the corners. If you take rake out of it, it makes the car tighter in the corners. So we have a little bit of adjustment, but it's not very often that you come in for a pit stop that you don't make a mechanical adjustment on a jack screw or air pressure, those types of things when you come in the pit.
In a team running 4 cars like Stuart Haas Racing, sharing data between crews is common practice. Over the race weekend, it can make the difference between a midfield finish or that clutch victory in the chase.
The 4 and 14 cars are built by the same people. The 41 and the 10 cars are built by all the same people in the shop. And we all share common parts and pieces that go on all 4 cars. All that information is live from one engineer to the other. So if we make a change on our car, it pops up on the other engineer's screen. So when they pull up our run logs, they can see exactly what we changed.
SHR are constantly seeking the perfect team dynamic. Engineers and pit crew work hard to bring the best possible car to the track, but it can be the crew chief and driver that determine whether that car rolls into victory lane.
It's ultimately up to us whether or not we can take the car and take it to the limit and be fast and be focused enough to give the feedback to the crew chief to make changes to make it better if it needs it. So yes, there are 2 main keys. Everybody plays a part, by all means. The whole expression, you're only as strong as your weakest link. does come into play, but the two key roles definitely are crew chief and driver.
Good job, Roy. Awesome job. Way to go, guys.
Next up, we travel to the Middle East to meet the Flying Finn taking on the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge.
2016 saw the 26th running of one of the most grueling cross-country rallies in motorsport. A week-long trek for cars and bikes through the desert terrain of Abu Dhabi had attracted an international field of drivers and riders, including desert rookie Mikko Hirvonen. The Finn is more famous for a different kind of rallying, as for more than a decade he starred on the stages of the World Rally Championship.
I did rallying in WRC level for 13 years, most of the time for Ford. We got a few victories and we were fighting for the title a few times, but just missed the title every year basically when we got close. We lost it 1 year by 1 point, but we got close anyway. But yeah, 13 years in rallies, and then I retired from that about 2 years ago, and now trying some new adventures and driving in the desert now. It's a lot different than what I'm used to. Where I grew up, driving in a snowy, frozen lake, to come in the desert where it's hot and sandy, you can't really get far in the other end of the terrain where I've been used to driving.
While Hirvonen certainly knows his way round a rally car, he doesn't yet know his way around the vast stretches of Abu Dhabi's empty quarter. And he and co-driver Michel Perrin don't have all the tools of the WRC.
When you go into the desert, you don't have any roads. You have a kind of a rough direction, which direction you want to go, but you have to try to read the dunes a little bit, which is easy enough to go, and is there going to be any bad drops or ditches or holes there. It's more adventure in a way. In rallying, we always have pace notes. We recce the stages we do 2 times, so we know all the time exactly what's behind the crest and what's behind the corner. Here we don't have pace notes. I mean, co-driver are giving us some information, some really bad places, but it's not even close to the information we have in rallying.
Day one, and while the fight at the front is between Hirvonen's Saudi teammate Yassid Al-Raji and Qatari 2008 winner Nasser Al-Attiyah, the Finn makes it safely through almost 300 kilometres of sand and dust and is beginning to find a rhythm.
It's very difficult to go over the dunes in a way, and there's always the moment when you see only the sky, so you just have to wait, hope that it's not 2 meter hole behind it, that you don't get any speed for the next one. It's really cool and difficult in a way as well, and of course the more you do it, you learn to read the dunes a little bit. The best feeling and the most fun thing what you can do is that you're surfing on the top like it's a wave in the sea. It's fantastic.
The event has a number of categories, and while Hirvonen is in the car class, he has more than a little respect for those bold enough to take on the desert on 2 wheels.
They are absolutely insane. Going in the desert with the motorbike, I can't even imagine how tough it is to be exposed to the sun, and physically it's even harder. You are going up and down and you have to control your bike, and in the soft sand it's quite easy to fall down. Those guys are really incredible. I really respect them a lot, that they are doing what they do. It's really amazing.
By day 3, the 35-year-old has worked his way from 7th to 3rd place. A podium finish is beginning to look a possibility.
Not bad, I'm quite happy. Couple of really tricky places and we had to reverse 2 times, but we didn't lose so much time on those, so I'm happy we didn't get stuck properly.
The next day, the rookie finally nails it, taking his maiden stage win. But the 250-kilometre run has left him too exhausted to speak. On the final day, Toyota's Al-Attiyah drives home his advantage, a confirmed victory in the event, leaving Mini driver Al-Raji in 2nd place. But Hirvonen has done a lot more than just survive the challenge. He has ended up joining the desert specialists on the podium.
Really happy how it ended up. Like, it was really tough weekend, and some of the days I couldn't even walk after the stages, but we managed to get through and got a lot of experience. We had a good result, so we are really happy about it.
To end today's Mobil1 The Grid, we talked to a former F1 ace who's now driving sports cars for Ferrari in the USA.
The racing arm of luxury Italian auto manufacturer Ferrari goes well beyond the Scuderia in Formula 1. And one driver from the Prancing Horse stable, elder statesman Giancarlo Fisichella, is a proud factory Ferrari driver, currently earning his keep with Risi Competizione in the North American IMSA series.
One of the most important brand in the world, and it's a dream for all the drivers to drive for Ferrari. Everywhere you go, the people recognize the Ferrari car, the red t-shirt. It's just great. It was my dream, so I'm really proud of it.
Giancarlo Fisichella, busy to the racing community, started like many in karts. His natural talent saw him speed through the ranks, eventually earning him a seat in Formula 1.
When I was 23 years old, I started my career in Formula 1 with Minardi. Then I went to Jordan, then Benetton, Sauber and Renault, and then Force India, and then Ferrari in 2009. It was great. It was the dream of my life to become a Formula 1 driver and one day to be Formula 1 factory driver.
Giancarlo! He's the man!
Yeah, my teammates, crazy teammates.
Sharing his car with teammates was a new experience for Fisichella when he switched to sports cars. And it was down to Finnish GT driver Tony Villander to show the Italian the ins and outs of endurance racing.
With Giancarlo, when he quit in Formula 1 after 13 years, I was the first guy to race with him 2010. It was me, Giancarlo and Alesi. In the GT cars, I had more experience, so at that transition from single-seaters to GT cars, I was actually the guy probably giving a few notes.
I learned a lot from him, and it was like my teacher. We went together many races, we went together to Le Mans in 2012 and 2014.
When these guys show up, like Giancarlo, there is... In half an hour, you sort of like you've known each other for 20 years, so there's no time lost there.
2016 sees Fisichella and his co-drivers behind the wheel of the new Ferrari 488 GTB, battling for wins in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
Well, it's a great car. It's the new 488 GTB. It's a fantastic car. Very, very comfortable, very good on the curbs, much better than last year compared to 458 in terms of grip, in terms of handling.
Still winning and ever competitive, we'll hopefully see Fizzy and his new Ferrari in the paddock for years to come.
I am 43, getting old, but I still enjoy what I'm doing. I'm still winning sometimes, so until I enjoy it, until I am quick as the other people, I want to stay. I want to drive for in this category.
Next time, David Coulthard put Jenson Button to the test, and we preview the 100th Indy 500. Meanwhile, join us on YouTube, Twitter, and on our all-new website, Mobil1TheGrid.com, for exclusive motorsport videos and the very best writers on the web. Mobil1TheGrid.com is your home of motorsport online. See you next time.